Quick disclaimer, this video is meant for educational purposes only. Everything I say in this video is my opinion.
In the comments of a lot of my other videos, you guys have asked me to check out different prop firms, whether that's to know if they're legitimate or just to check them out or even for me to try them myself. Well, I want to start this new series where essentially I'm going to be paying and even trying out different prop firm challenges and giving you guys my initial review. And this is not going to be a review of the actual services, but I will get into things like brokers and what the spreads are and all that kind of stuff that actually goes along with having an actual account. The first one we're going to try out is BTTFX. That's born to trade fxfunding.com. Parameters I'm going to be using to review BTTFX, and I plan to review other subsequent prop firms in the future, are the following: design, easy to find, core rules, core parameters, cost and value, amount of hidden rules, weird rules, the broker, that's in terms of like the spread, what they offer, that sort of thing, the customer service, the reputation, and my overall opinion. If you guys want me to add things or remove things or maybe change some other things around, let me know in the comments below and I'll definitely consider that for future videos on the same subject. Let's go ahead and start off with the design. So let's go ahead and head over to the main website for BTTFX funding. So the first thing I want to talk about in the design is their logo. Their logo is really in your face. It's all spinning all over the place and it has a bunch of other stuff all over in the background, a bunch of numbers, kind of cryptic in that way a little bit. But as you can see, logo's fine, a little grainy, but not a big deal. Definitely not going to knock any points for the logo. Scrolling down a little bit, I can appreciate that they have the 90% of traders lose, all this kind of information on the front. They have a couple key rules, our team, all that good information. They have a ticker tape up here, and then this really ugly letters over here with a Hexels background or something. And then our services, they have crypto payouts, true ECN broker, all this good stuff. Design is okay. Again, just referencing the design right now. I'm not talking about any of the statistics yet. I will get into all of that in this video. The aggressive funding rules explained. All the rules are here, but here is the first huge error on their part on design. I am on 75% zoomed out, so I'm zoomed out on my computer screen, not zoomed out on my computer, and you still cannot see all of the phase 1 challenge rules on one screen, even while zoomed out. I like to be zoomed out. I'm usually zoomed out when I use my computer, but usually I can see everything as well. And this I definitely cannot. So you have to scroll up and down just to read the whole thing, which is definitely not a good design at all. Definitely lose some points for that. You go to the other ones as well, the verification. Almost can see the whole thing. It's a little better, maybe. It's pretty much just as bad. And then phase 3, for some reason on the phase 3, they just shrink the whole thing down. You can finally actually read the whole thing all at once on one screen as long as you're 75% zoomed out. So again, definitely a huge minus mark for that in terms of design. I'll be talking a little bit more about design throughout this whole video, but I'll give you my rating in just a second for the overall design. Again, don't look at the prices or anything just yet, but they do have these other sections here where you can click on different ones of these. It's pretty nice to be able to do that, and that way the design's okay, but it's not the very best. FAQ responses down here. This is one of the FAQ pages. They have multiple FAQ pages, which is really strange. They have 2 FAQ pages, but there's also the terms of service, which is different things. There's a lot of contradictions in all 3 of these. One of them may contradict the other one. It's really hard to know which one to actually pay attention to. And then in terms of design, they have the ticker tape again at the bottom. You can read the other FAQ page over here, which has different information. And then you can see the disclaimer, important disclaimer. I guess this one's not important. The risk disclosure and the refund policy. But if you scroll down just a little bit more, you can see the logo, and then you can read the same thing again. The disclaimer and the important disclaimer and all the other good stuff. The risk disclosure, refund policy, all that's down here at the bottom of the page as well. It's on both the bottom and the even farther bottom. So that's definitely going to be some hit points there for the design quality of the website. Their links are finally down here. They're only at the bottom. I'll scroll back up to show you what they look like at the very top of the website. You can see their main thing is going to be the challenge, but there is no option here for the challenge. You might think it's the first one, however, you have to scroll down to hit challenge after that. They have their instant funding one, which has a dedicated button, but for some reason the challenge one, which most people like to click on according to this poll that I did, still is not going to be on the main header. They have a dashboard here. I guess it's like an example dashboard because you wouldn't know what your dashboard is unless that's because I'm logged in. Because again, I did try this one out for myself. In the contact us page, and then you have to scroll down here for the other ones if you want to buy some merch for some reason or get one of the other options here that are there available. So for the design, what is my rating? I'm going to rate this one a probably a D tier. You'll see why more as I go throughout the video. I don't want to spoil too much, which is why I'm stopping here for the design element. But let's go ahead and move on to the next element. Again, I'll rate that one a D. So the next one is going to be easy to find the core rules, which, as you saw when I scrolled down the website, it was pretty easy to find the core rules, so this probably should be a really good rating, you would think. However, you can see that the core rules are also here, and then also here. So it's 3 places on the website, which isn't the best thing. You have to kind of combine all of them together to see everything. I'll explain a little more about that in just a little bit of why you have to combine them all. You can't just go to one place to see everything. But the most important thing is it's hard to find the website in the first place. If you Google BTTFX, you might come across 2 other web pages. The first of which is BTFX, and that does have one less T. It's a different website, completely different company, and it's just pretty much a blank website, almost has a picture on it with some other buttons. This is totally unrelated from the main website we're talking about for this particular prop firm video. The other website is this one. If I scroll back up here to the top of this one, this is BornToTradeFX.com. That's what BTTFX stands for, so you might think it's the right website. Sorry, no, this is not the right website. They might have a link to the right website, but this is not going to be the right website for you. They have a similar logo and everything, but it's a little different. Also with the cryptic numbers in the background. Scroll down a little bit more, they say what is the FX indicator, which I'll show you guys how well that does a little later. They have an academy, indicator, live classes, personal coaching, trading copiers, and trade ideas, all this good stuff on this other website. Again, not really rating their academy or anything right now. They have other prices. Apparently everything is sold out somehow, which is really interesting. And they have the testimonials, which for some reason they decided to show KOTFX, which a lot of people know is one of the scammiest brokers out there. It's definitely not a broker that I recommend to anybody. Again, that's just my opinion, just like this whole video is my opinion. Then they have the world-class mentors. As you can see, very obvious world-class mentors. I'm sure everyone knows these guys. I'm just joking, of course. But these guys are probably going to be the same guys behind the main site, the funding website as well. Most likely, we don't know that for a fact. The main funding site does not say who's managing it, but they're most likely the same people. You can find out their Instagram and emails down here below for all of them down there. Their mission statement is here as well, but this is a totally different website. So let's go ahead and go back to the main website and go ahead and give this a rating for the easiness to find the main rules. Now, the reason why I said you can't find everything in one particular place is because you wouldn't know certain aspects that are only down here, like the profit split. There is nowhere on here that it shows the profit split until the very, very bottom of the webpage. You wouldn't know, and that's actually one of their main selling points. It's one of the most aggressive things, the best things that they have is their profit split. And for some reason they choose not to show that right away on the front page. So overall, I'd have to give this a C rating for the easiness to find. It is easy to find. Once you're on the main page, it's relatively easy to find, but not the most. For being a prop firm website, most prop firm websites have it right smack on the homepage. You usually only have to scroll a little bit to see the parameters. A couple prop firms do a really good job of that. This is not one of those examples, but it's not so bad. So I'd say it's around a C, maybe even a B tier for condition. So now let's talk about what the actual parameters are and how good they are for the next category on here. So that the core parameters, how good are they? So they have a standard trading period, standard profit target, standard daily loss limit, or you can pick up positive days instead if you wish. The drawdown limits is very standard, minimum trading days, really nice leverage, 1 to 200 is really, really good, but there is a huge caveat, which I'll touch on in just a second. If you scroll down just a little bit more, you can see the aggressive plan, which is, they call it aggressive, but it's really just the standard one. There's no standard and aggressive, or there is, but it's instant versus aggressive. So the aggressive is the normal one, essentially. If you look here, it's a really nice profit split. If you're looking for a really good profit split, this is a really good option for that aspect alone. Hold on, make sure you pay attention to the whole video before you can make your decision whether you want to go with these guys or not. So you do get to pick either profitable days or drawdown. You get to pick one, you don't have to abide by both, which is really nice. I actually really like that aspect of it, and that's huge props for that. You get to pick it, and with a nice profit split, it's definitely going to be really, really good. They do only allow you to have one account per household, and you get to either have, you get to choose your size. It can be any of these 3 sizes, but you can only have one. And if you scroll down just a little bit more, you can see what rules should I have to be aware of, and there is going to be some contradictions later in other parts of the website, but this does say, once you're on our live account, we cap the lot size, the lot cap of 5 lots on the 50K, 10 lots on the 100K, you probably think 20 lots on the 200K. No, only 15. You only can do 15 lots maximum on your live account with these particular guys. So you get a huge percentage split, but you have to use a really small amount of lots in the first place. So it's really a huge push and pull there. It's really not good. There's other aspects of the website that said they don't have this rule anymore, but it's still on our homepage, so it's still confusing if it is still a rule or not. It says multiple places that it is a rule, so I'm just gonna go with that it is a rule because I think it is, but we'll have to see on that. So overall, if you were to go with the statistics alone, they have a lot of really, really good aggressive ones like the profit split and being able to choose between daily drawdown or profitable days. So I'm going to give them a B tier for their actual core parameters. I didn't see anything really, really amazing, but it's all pretty good. With the profit split is really, really good. But besides that, nothing really else. They do bi-weekly payouts as well, which is nice, but I'm gonna go with the B overall tier for this particular aspect. Now the cost, what is the value for this? When I address the value, as I plan on doing in other videos in this series, I'm mainly looking at the 100K because almost every prop firm has a 100K option. So for this particular 100K, it's gonna be $575. Is that worth it? Well, for what they're offering, kind of not. In some ways, if you think what they're offering is good, then yeah, it's pretty decent, but it is a little bit more in the medium side. It is a little bit better than FTMO, of course, FTMO being one of the most expensive options, but it's not so competitive with other prop firms like TPT, TFT, MyForex funds. It's not gonna be really competitive with those ones. So it's kind of in the middle tier, so I'm going to rate it in the middle as a C tier for the cost or value. Now let's go ahead and go over to the hidden rules. So the hidden rules, which you can find here, the first one that I want to talk about is more of the inconsistency. For example, on the rules section, they have a dedicated section for the rules, and it says the trading options, they have stocks. But if you go to the FAQ, not the FAQ on the homepage, but the actual FAQ dedicated page, then you can say what pairs can I trade, and it does not list stocks. And one other thing to really pay attention to is it doesn't list silver either. It says XAU, which is gold, but it does not list silver on either of these two options. And by the way, the broker, I'll get more into this later, the broker does have silver as an option. I really don't like when brokers have options and then the prop firm says you can't trade those options and maybe even fail you for it. I don't know if they fail you for it or what they do, but some prop firms will just give you a complete fail. Even if you win the trade, even if you lose the trade, it doesn't really matter. They'll just fail you if you have a particular loss, if you trade at all on one of the instruments that they say is not allowed. But they allow stocks, so it's really weird that they allow stocks but not silver. That's just my opinion. Really, really weird. I'll give you my overall opinion at the end. They do allow other types of EAs, but they have to follow certain things, and they have to have, let's say, a 50 lot position here, but you already know it's a 15 max lot for the 200K option. So it's really, really weird stuff like this. So there is definitely some hidden rules that are involved in this, as well as we go back to the website. You can see the other hidden rules over here as well. They don't allow any martingale EAs, but also some other EA restrictions as well that you can only find on the rules page, not on the home page. And then if you say, if I hit my profit target, is it a guaranteed pass? You'd hope the answer is yes, but unfortunately it's not. BTTFX backers fund, they essentially are only going to fund people that they deem as good risk. If they deem you as bad risk, even though you passed the challenge, even though you passed the verification, too bad, sorry, here's a refund, and here's an extra 10% back as well. And that's it, goodbye. That's all they do. They even if you pass everything, you're not even guaranteed to have a funded account at all, which really, really sucks for anyone that actually has had to deal with that before. And I feel really bad for anyone that has. And the last one that I want to touch on is in the terms and condition. Anything in the terms and condition, it's not on the rules page, not on the FAQ, not on the homepage. It's definitely considered a hidden rule. But one of the things here is that BTTFX has no correlation to these master traders. If you remember from FXC, they had some master traders and everyone knows how well that went. These master traders, BTTFX also had some master traders. I don't know if they're still doing it. I couldn't really find anything on that. I was never offered any master traders. I was just offered to trade my own account. But you're essentially signing up and it's essentially saying that you don't get to have a lot of things and these are the business hours, all these things that are little hidden rules. So you definitely want to read the terms and conditions if you decide to go with this particular company. So overall, on the hidden rules, what would I rate them? I wouldn't rate them the very worst, but I would rate them pretty bad. So I'm gonna go ahead and rate them a D. They definitely have some hidden rules, and those rules are pretty bad as well. And that also ties into the weird rules as well. I'm not gonna go through everything again. I just kind of talked about them, kind of combining two different sections. So for the rules, what are they? So really the last one that I give a D rating to is how many hidden rules they have. As that's a D. For the hidden rules they do have, I'll rate that as an F. Because they have the crucial rule that's so weird that they say, even if you pass everything, we might just give you a 10% refund. Now keep in mind, there are prop firms out there, such as TFT and MyForex funds and TPT, that will give you more than your initial refund back with your funded account if you pass. And usually you have to have a first successful month as well, but as long as you have those things, you'll get a better refund, more than 100%, and keep a funded account and be able to trade afterwards. So if they're gonna say they do all this effort and you might not even win, that really sucks. And that is related to the next thing, which is their broker. So Trader Central Fund has a really similar rule as well to this one, or at least they did. They might have changed some things recently, but last time I checked, they still had this rule. So that goes into the broker. You gotta rate this as a D and F for these two tiers. For the broker, they have Trader Central Bridge, which I'm gonna show you in their customer service email was not what they originally had. They have been changing it a whole bunch of times, but now they have TC Bridge. So Trader Central Bridge is a separate company from Trader Central Fund, but they even have a very similar logo. So yeah, I'm sure you guys can make the connection there. They're two different companies, Trader Central Bridge and Trader Central Fund. So this is Trader Central Fund. You can download it here for the platform. This is one of the only places you can find on the platform. In terms of spreads and offerings for this one, it's kind of cool. They have stocks on there. They have a couple other things you're not allowed to trade with this particular platform, like silver, like I mentioned earlier. The spreads on any crypto are terrible. I would not recommend, if you're a crypto trader, I would not recommend doing any broker that offers TC Bridge. They have absolutely ridiculous, in my opinion, sizes on there. And they even talk about that on BTTFX. So BTTFX is actually very transparent about that, which I can really, really appreciate. But it's about crypto having really bad spreads. But that's only for crypto traders. So overall, I would say it's pretty average spreads for most things. Their offerings are pretty decent. But it's just not going to be very reliable because it is going to be essentially a white label company. Anyone can come up to Trader Central Bridge and apply for a white label company. I have even been offered myself to do a white label company through Trader Central Bridge. I have not. I did not accept that. TFT, the funded trader, is not associated with any white labels at all. It's a completely non-white label company, as you probably saw in my video where I announced that I started my own prop firm, but that's completely unrelated from this. So the broker, overall, I'd rate it a C tier. It's not very good. It's okay, pretty average, I would say. They have some things on there that you can't trade, so I'd say it's a C. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the customer service with BTTFX. Well, how long did it take me to get my initial credentials? It took me about 24 hours from the time that I purchased it until I actually got it, which isn't so bad. It's not automated, but for being not automated, it's not so bad. So about 24 hours, not the best, but it's okay. I didn't mind too much. But the first thing I want to talk about is what they emailed me in the first place. Did they send me the correct login details? The answer to that question is unfortunately no. They got many things wrong on the account credentials. The first thing that they got wrong is the broker. They actually said it is an FX Choice Pro demo broker. That was not the broker at all. That's what they told me initially, but that's not the broker they actually use. The challenge size was also wrong. This is 100K, but it's actually a 200K account that I purchased. So I hope I'm getting a 200K account, not just 100K. And then everything else on here was actually incorrect. So I like the rest of it, but those things are really, really important. Also, not gonna show my login and password, of course, for very obvious reasons, but they did give me those as well. Of course, it didn't work. And it also said it was MT5, but for those familiar with FX Choice Pro Demo, it doesn't have an option for the Pro Demo on MT5. It has like another one by a slightly different name. It does have that for MT4, it's not MT5. So that context is required for the emails I'm about to show you. My first reply was this: can you please provide the download link for the Windows download of the platform? Because they didn't actually send any link. They sent me other links to like YouTube videos and their Instagram page, but they didn't actually send me a link to download the platform. And practically every other prop firm that I've ever dealt with always send you the broker download link in the initial welcome email. This one did not. They just said what the broker was, and they said good luck finding it, essentially. They didn't say good luck finding it. I was implying that part. They essentially said that. And then I emailed them again about an hour later or so, and they said, I have tried on the MT4 version, since that one lets you choose the account type Pro Demo, on the MT5 from FX Choice, and both say it's invalid. So I tried both MT4 version of FX Choice and MT4, and both says invalid even after reinstall. Please double check the credentials and send me the correct trading platform for Windows operating system. So I was like, please just send me the link to download the right one, whichever one it is. I don't care what the platform is. Just send it to me. It really should have been on the website in the first place, but it wasn't. So please send it to me. They said, okay, I will check. That's their entire message. They sent me, there was no like even, hello, sorry to deal with this or whatever, hello, my name is, none of that. They didn't sign it or anything. That's all they said. Just, okay, I will check. A couple words there. The next email they sent me, I didn't respond to that one. And then about 30 minutes later, they said, please try this, broker TC Bridge. That wording is not a link. That is not a link or anything. That's just, please try this, broker TC Bridge. That's all I said. They didn't say what if there would have been multiple versions of TC Bridge. They didn't say use the website to find it. They didn't have a direct link. They just said, please try this. So I replied to them. That wasn't a link, but I figured it out by looking it up, and I was able to log in with the other credentials. Again, I use that same other page I showed you on the last section. I'll start trading on this account. Please confirm that this account on TC Bridge demo will be valid if I pass with the allowed parameters. And they said, yes, it is. These guys are clearly very, very wordy. Of course, being sarcastic, they use very, very selective wording here on what they're saying, using only 3 words in this one. The most they used was like 4 or 5 words on any of their given replies. So their customer service was definitely a huge, huge fail on this one. A massive, absolutely massive fail. The only thing that could have been worse is if they took even longer to reply. The reply times was about average. It wasn't really anything good or bad on the reply time. It was okay. But what they said was actually below average on having extremely short, unprofessional replies. So I definitely have to give the customer service a big F for a big fail on this particular aspect for me personally. I didn't feel like they were really talking to me, or it was really just something they had to deal with, which really was a fault of their own. They gave me the wrong credentials. I feel like it's a really reasonable thing to ask for the platform download as well. So huge, huge F on the customer service aspect of things. So that's my overall rating. Let's go ahead and go over to the BTTFX funding on Trustpilot, which is going to be for the overall reputation of this particular prop firm, and see what others have to say about them. So as you can see, this is the BTTFX funding. The reviews for them are 15 reviews in total. They have 2 excellent reviews, which is a little bit sus. I'll get into that in just a second. They have 1 average review and a whopping 12 out of 15 bad reviews. That's 1 star, the lowest possible thing you can rate them. So overall, that's already inspires confidence, of course. Let's go ahead and read some of the reviews. I'm not going to read all of them. I'm going to have all of them on the screen for you to read if you'd like to, but I'm not going to read all of them. I'm definitely not going to read this first one because they're already, the first thing I see is that they're referring to the FTMO challenge, which if they're referring to a different prop firm, I think it's just not even relevant so much for this particular one, but I'm just going to have it there in case you want to read it as well. The very next review is going to be a big scammer out there. Beware, 100% scam, please avoid. Pretty good offering for prop firm, but support has been limited. Limited is very accurate. I can appreciate them to say limited. They were very limited on their amount of words, limited to only 5 words per email or so. The next one said Ryan is a scammer. According to this guy, of course, this is not my opinion, this is someone else's opinion. This is Ryan has scammed hundreds of people out of thousands with his Born to Trade EA. I've published the name to project future potential victims as he runs other scams. Also, this is important. They ended up replying to this one. I appreciate it's not the same messages as before, it's copy-pasted. However, look at the date of this particular message. They said, hello, we're sorry to hear about this review. Obviously, with any investment, you are taking risk, and that is clearly implied. We did make some of our master traders public, and the others that want to remain private, we let stay private. And that they're essentially just trying to, I almost want to say save face, essentially, but they're saying, trying to come back from a bad review here, which is good. I can definitely commend them for attempting to come back from a bad review. Every good company should be wanting to do stuff like that. However, what I don't like is the dates, because the dates are really interesting, because this is also on July 7th. Where have we heard that date before? If we scroll back up a little bit to the very next reviews, July 7th and July 7th, and they're both invited. Well, this is really curious that they both have invited really good reviews right after receiving a really, really bad review. And this was a little while ago. You can see there are other bad reviews before then as well. And it's really interesting to see that it may have been on the same date and they were invited. So it's a whole coincidence thing that I'll leave it up to you to decide if there was anything there to imply. I definitely am not trying to imply anything, but I'll leave that to you to decide for yourself. This next person says, do not engage. They're a bunch of snake oil salesmen. They will upsell you products and a whole bunch of other things. And they're also talking really poorly about some of those owners again. And they also replied to this email on the same day, July 7th as well. So this is probably the day they read a bunch of these reviews. They saw there was a bunch of bad ones. So then they invited some people for those good ones. That's what it seems like. I'm definitely not saying that's what happened. It's just what it seems like happened. I bought a master trader to this day. Lack of any major answers for me is a large-scale scam. I do not recommend. This person said, not worth it. I signed up and paid almost $1,000 to have someone trade an account for me. So these are more for the master trader side, which I don't think is really an option anymore anyways. So I won't take these too seriously when considering the reputation of this prop firm. And then this is the last one. This was from May 14th. And it says, MJ is a filthy scammer. I invested $10K in his robot, the EA. Blown my account, all the money gone. He couldn't even say sorry. Well, that's going to be not the best review for them. Of course, they replied on July 7th. So they essentially looked at all these reviews on July 7th, and they invited some other people, is what it sure seems like, based off of all this evidence. Also, it's pretty interesting to see the rather large delay for the first negative review. Not so important, but overall, it's pretty clear that the majority of the people are either giving 3 or 1, really most people are giving 1-star reviews for this particular prop firm, so it'd have to go with a reputation level of an F for this particular prop firm, which is unfortunate that the people just don't seem to really like them a lot, and I can kind of see why, but it is also going to be other people's opinions of this prop firm. Is definitely going to be an F for the reputation. What is my overall score for BTTFX funding? Well, after considering everything, there is a lot of pros and cons. There is going to be quite a few more cons than pros, unfortunately, for this particular prop firm. But I would have to rate this one a lower D tier prop firm because there's so many issues going on with them, and apparently they have kind of not the best pass as well with their EAs and other things they've had from their company structure. So we'll have to go with a D tier for this particular prop firm. They do have some things that are really, really competitive, such as biweekly payouts and at 85% payouts, which is why I would not say they're an F in my particular opinion. If there's another prop firm you guys want me to review as well, let me know in the comments below, and I can definitely consider taking a look at it. If you guys want me to do more on this series, also please let me know. It really helps me know what kind of videos you guys want me to make on my channel. I'll have the next video right here once I make that one for the next video in this series. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.